Bună ziua, dragii mei telespectatori! Bun veniți din nou pe canalul nostru unde vă aducem cele mai inspiratoare și incredibile povești din România și din întreaga lume. Numele meu este Marius și astăzi vă voi povesti despre un bărbat care a devenit eroul unei întregi comunități într-un mod pe care nimeni nu l-ar fi bănuit vreodată. Ați fost vreodată judecați pentru ideile voastre neconvenționale? V-ați simțit vreodată ridiculizați pentru că ați avut viziuni diferite despre cum să vă protejați familia și comunitatea? Povestea de astăzi este despre Ion Dumitrescu, un țăran ingenios din județul Argeș, care a construit ceea ce toată lumea numea în bătaie de joc fortăreața de fân, până când această construcție aparent bizară le-a salvat viața tuturor. În iarna lui 2023, una dintre cele mai devastatoare furtuni de zăpadă din ultimii 50 de ani a lovit România, iar ceea ce părea să fie o idee ridicolă s-a dovedit a fi o soluție genială care a făcut diferența între viață și moarte pentru sute de oameni dintr-un sat mic din munții Argeșului. Înainte să începem această poveste extraordinară despre curaj, viziune și triumful ingeniozității românești, vă rog frumos să apăsați butonul de subscribe și să activați clopoțelul pentru notificări. Dacă această istorisire vă va inspira așa cum m-a inspirat și pe mine, nu uitați să lăsați un like și să distribuiți videoclipul prietenilor voștri care au nevoie să audă povești despre oameni care nu se lasă descurajați de critici. În comentarii, vă rog să-mi spuneți din ce țară și din ce oraș ne urmăriți. Mi-ar plăcea foarte mult să știu cât de departe ajung aceste povești despre spiritul românesc și să simt această conexiune specială pe care o avem împreună. Pregătiți-vă pentru o aventură care vă va demonstra că uneori ideile cele mai neînțelese sunt cele care salvează lumea. Paragraful 1. Ion și viziunea sa neobișnuită. Ion Dumitrescu era un țăran în vârstă de 54 de ani din satul Corbii de Argeș, situat într-o vale izolată la poalele munților Carpați. În comunitatea locală, Ion era cunoscut ca un om harnic și inteligent, dar și ca cineva cu idei neobișnuite care adesea îi făceau pe vecini să dea din cap cu îndoială. În vara anului 2022, Ion a început să pună în practică una dintre cele mai ambițioase și aparent bizare proiecte pe care le concepuse vreodată. Am avut un vis în care văzusem o furtună de zăpadă care acoperea totul, povestește Ion. În visul acela, oamenii din sat se adăpostau într-o construcție mare făcută din baloți de fân și toți supraviețuiau. Când m-am trezit, am știut că trebuie să construiesc exact asta. Proprietatea lui Ion se întindea pe aproximativ 3 hectare la marginea satului, o poziție strategică pe un deal mic care domina întreaga vale. Aici, în mijlocul terenului său, a început să construiască ceea ce el numea Centrul de Supraviețuire Corbii. O structură uriașă construită în întregime din baloți de fân, compactați și consolidată cu o tehnică ingenioasă pe care o dezvoltase singur. Ideea lui Ion nu era complet originală din punct de vedere istoric. Știa din poveștile bunicului său că în timpul primului război mondial, țăranii românești construiau adăposturi din baloți de fân pentru a se proteja de bombardamente și ierni grele. Dar ceea ce plănuia Ion era mult mai ambițios, o structură capabilă să adăpostească întreaga comunitate locală în cazul unei catastrofe naturale. Construcția a început în iunie 2022, când Ion și-a folosit toată recolta de fân de pe cele 3 hectare pentru a crea baloți enormi, compactați la o densitate mult mai mare decât cele obișnuite. Folosind o presă agricolă modificată și o tehnică pe care o perfecționase ani de zile, reușea să creeze baloți de fân care erau aproape la fel de duri ca betonul, dar păstrau proprietățile de izolație termică ale fânului. Secretul era în compactare și în modul în care îmbinai baloții, explică Ion. Nu era suficient să îi stivuiești unul peste altul. Trebuia să creezi un sistem de îmbinare care să facă structura să se comporte ca un singur perete solid, nu ca o grămadă de baloți separați. Pentru a realiza această îmbinare, Ion dezvoltase un sistem de ancore naturale, tijele lungi de lemn de stejar, pe care le trecea prin mai mulți baloți simultan, creând o rețea de consolidare care făcea ca întreaga structură să fie extraordinar de stabilă. Aceste ancore erau apoi fixate cu căști metalice pe care le făurise personal la forja sa improvizată. Proiectul lui Ion era de asemenea inovativ din punct de vedere al designului. Structura nu era o simplă construcție rectangulară, ci avea o formă complexă, cu mai multe nivele și compartimente specialized. Partea centrală era o sală mare capabilă să adăpostească peste 100 de persoane, înconjurată de camere mai mici pentru storage, bucătării de urgență și zone pentru dormit. În timp ce Ion muncit singur la proiectul său ambițios, reacția comunității locale era în cea mai mare parte una de amuzament și scepticism. Vecinii săi considerau că își pierdea timpul și resursele cu o jucărie pentru adulți care nu avea niciun scop practic real. Multe persoane din sat veneau să privească progresul lucrării și să facă comentarii ironice. Uite-l pe Ion cu castelul său de fân. Era comentariul obișnuit al celor care treceau pe drum. Crede că vine sfârșitul lumii și construiește fortăreața pentru a se ascunde. Primarul satului, Gheorghe Petrescu, era unul dintre cei mai vocali critici ai proiectului. Ion își iriseacă timpul și banii cu prostiile astea, în loc să se concentreze pe agricultura normală, complaint el la ședințele Consiliului Local. Ce face el acolo nu ajută pe nimeni și ocupă terenul care putea fi folosit productiv. Chiar și familia lui Ion avea îndoieli despre proiect. Soția sa, Maria, și cei 2 fii adolescenți susțineau munca sa, dar nu înțelegeau complet viziunea sa. Știam că Ion era întotdeauna ingenios și că avea idei bune, spune Maria, dar și eu mă îndoiam că proiectul acesta va avea vreodată un scop real. Costurile proiectului erau substanțiale pentru o familie de țărani. Ion își investise toate savings-urile din 3 ani în materiale și unelte specialized, pentru a obține lemnul de calitate necesar pentru ancorele de consolidare. Vinduse 3 vaci și o parte din harvestul de grâu. Economic sacrifice era significant, dar Ion era convinced de necessity proiectului său. Pe măsură ce lunile treceau și structurile începea să capete formă, comentariile ironice din comunitate se intensificau. Copiii din sat veneau să se joace în jurul construcției și o numit Castelul Nebunului Ion. Adulți făceau pariuri despre cât timp va dura înainte ca Ion să abandone proiectul sau ca structures să se prăbușească. Dar Ion era determined să continue, indiferent de criticism. În fiecare dimineață se trezit înainte de răsărit și muncea la structura sa până seara târziu. Pe timp de ploaie sau de vreme rea, lucra la improvementurile interioare, sistem de ventilație improvizat, rafturi pentru supplies și chiar un sistem rudimentar pentru heating bazat pe combustie controlată a baloți într-o chamber special designed. În toamna lui 2022, când construcția era aproape terminată, Ion organized o zi a porților deschise pentru a permite comunității să vadă interior and să înțeleagă purpose-ul real al proiectului său. Aproximativ 40 de persoane au venit să viziteze, majoritatea din curiozitate mai mult decât din genuin interes. Când am văzut înăuntru pentru prima oară, povestește vecina sa, Ana Popescu, am rămas surprised de cât de spacious and well-organized era. Nu era o simplă grămadă de fân, era o real construction cu everything gândit pentru comfort and survival în condiții extreme. Dar chiar și după această demonstration, majority comunității rămânea skeptical. Most people agreed că structural era impressive ca engineering achievement, dar continued să consider că era o waste de timp and resources. Nimeni nu putea imagine circumstances în care such construction ar putea fi really needed. În acel toamnă, Ion a încheiat construction și și-a petrecit iarna făcând final adjustments and stocking supplies. Little știa că, next winter, fortăreața de fân, care cauzase atâta amusement în community, va deveni literal difference între life and death pentru hundreds de persoane din Valley. Paragraful 2. Pregătiri pentru iarnă și primele semne. În noiembrie 2022, Ion și-a petrecut timpul finalizând amenajările interioare ale structurii sale și pregătind-o pentru primul test serios al iernii care se apropia. Deși majoritatea sătenilor continuau să își bată joc de proiectul său, Ion era convins că preparedness-ul era esențial și că vremurile dificile erau inevitabile în munții Argeșului. Am crescut aici și știu cum pot fi iernile în zona aceasta, explică Ion. Bunicul îmi povestea despre ierni când zăpada era de 2 metri și când oamenii rămâneau izolați luni întregi. Schimbările climatice de azi fac ca weather extremă să fie și mai unpredictable și mai dangerous. Pentru a-și stoca supplies pentru winter în structura sa, Ion utilizase toate savings-urile care îi mai rămăseseră. A cumpărat conserve pentru dozens de persoane, water containers care puteau ține hundreds de gallons, blankets și sleeping bags pentru emergency situations și chiar medical supplies basic. Interiorul structurii arăta ca un professionally organized emergency shelter. Sistemul de heating pe care îl dezvoltase era particularly ingenios. În centrul structurii, construise o specially designed combustion chamber căptușită cu stones din râul local și equipped cu un elaborate chimney system care duct smoke-ul prin baloții de fân în such way că heat era distributed uniform throughout interior, fără fire risk. People nu înțelegeau că fânul compactat în forma aceea era actually very fire resistant, explains Ion. Când baloții sunt pressed la density aceea, nu have enough oxygen pentru combustion. Doar surface layer poate burn și asta slow și controlled. Era actual safer than most conventional buildings. Pe măsură ce December approached, Ion început să observe weather patterns care îl îngrijorau. Am studiat meteorology ca hobby pentru years, iar cloud formations și atmospheric pressure readings, pe care le lua cu instruments improvised, indicau potențial pentru extreme weather în coming months. Nu eram un professional meteorologist, recunoaște Ion, dar am learned să read signs din nature. Birds' migration patterns erau different, animals' behavior era strange, iar atmospheric pressure avea fluctuații foarte unusual. Something big was building up. În plus față de personal observations, Ion monitoring radio weather reports și internet forecasts cu growing concern. European weather models indicau formation unui Arctic blast major care could bring unprecedented cold și snowfall la Balkan region în January sau February. Pentru a fi și mai prepared, Ion organized several meetings cu members willing AI community-ului for a explain features ale structurii sale și pentru a teach basic survival techniques. Only 11 people participated in aceste sessions. Majoritatea elderly residents care remembered difficult winters from their youth. Domnul Vasile, care are 82 de ani, îmi spunea că nu văzuse niciodată preparation așa de thorough pentru winter emergency, recalls Ion. El era unul dintre puținii care understood că ce făceam eu era serious preparation pentru potențial catastrofe, nu doar paranoia. În aceste meetings, Ion demonstrated ventilation systemul, explained cum functioning heating methodul său și showed unde erau located toate emergency supplies. Taught also basic techniques pentru conserving heat, pentru rationing food și water și pentru maintaining sanitation în confined spaces durante extended periods. Most important, Ion established communication system pentru să alerteze community în caz că sheltering in structure becomes necessary. Set up o improvised siren made din autohorns powered by battery system. She arranged pentru runners să notify people in different parts ale village dacă emergency occur. Preparation included also testing structurii under different weather conditions. During first heavy snowfall in December, Ion și family petrecuseră several nights în structure pentru a test toate systems și pentru a identify any potential problems. Everything worked smoothly, iar interior temperature rămânea comfortable chiar când outside temperature dropped sub-freezing. During test nights, am discovered că acoustic insulation ale structure era extraordinary, notes Ion. Outside wind și snowstorms erau complet silent în interior. Era almost eerie level de quiet și protection din surrounding chaos. Winter preparations attracted attention și din neighboring villages, where stories despre Ion cu castelului de fân begun să circulate ca amusing local legend. Some visitors came din curiosity, while others erau concerned că Ion might be unstable sau dangerous with his obsession despre catastrophic scenarios. Local authorities began to show some concern about gatherings la Ion's property și about potential pentru panic in community dacă his warnings about extreme weather were taken seriously. Major Petrescu mentioned că Ion's doomsday preparations could cause unnecessary anxiety among residents. Authorities erau worried că dacă people took my warnings seriously, might cause panic buying sau other disruptive behavior, observes Ion. They preferred to maintain atmosphere de normalcy, chiar dacă that meant being unprepared pentru potential emergencies. In spite de criticism și doubt, Ion continued to monitoring weather conditions și să fine-tune structurul său. Pe December 31, 2022, when most people din village erau celebrating New Year, Ion was working pe final adjustments la emergency lighting system și checking toate supplies for freshness și accessibility. In first weeks ale January 2023, weather remained relatively normal, ceea ce increased criticism din community about Ion's unnecessary panic. Many people pointed la mild weather ca evidence că Ion's preparations erau overwrought și unrealistic. I heard constant comments about how I wasted whole years și all my money pentru nothing, how structural meu era useless decoration pe landscape, recalls Ion. But I knew că patience era part de preparation. Emergency situations don't come cu advance warning și când they come, there's no time pentru preparation. De asemenea, în January, Ion noticed că some the weather models beginning să converge asupra unei scenario care era consistent cu his own observations. Large Arctic front was forming in Northern Europe. Și jet stream patterns suggested că could move southward cu unusual intensity in coming weeks. By end de January, was becoming clear că something significant was approaching, concludes Ion. Question wasn't whether extreme weather would hit, but how extreme it would be și whether community would be ready when it finally arrived. Paragraful 3. Sosirea furtunii seculare. Pe data de 12 februarie 2023, serviciile meteorologice române au emis o alertă de cod roșu pentru întreaga țară, anunțând sosirea celei mai severe furtuni de zăpadă din ultimii 50 de ani. Sistemul weather venea din Siberia și aducea cu el temperaturi sub 25 °C și vânturi de peste 100 km/h, urmat de snowfall care putea depăși 2 metri în zone montane. Pentru Ion Dumitrescu, acest announcement nu era o surpriză. De săptămâni monitorizase aceleași weather patterns și își pregătise structura pentru exact acest scenariu. În dimineața zilei de 12 februarie, a activat sirenul său improvised și a begun să alerteze community about imminent danger. Am sunat sirena la ora 8 dimineața și am started să merg din casă în casă pentru a warn people about ce venea, povestește Ion. Most people încă nu credea că va fi așa de rău cum predicted weather services. Erau obișnuiți cu winter storms normale și nu își imaginau că something aceasta severe could happen. Prima reacție din community era mixed. Elderly residents care remembered extreme winters din past erau more willing to take warnings seriously, while younger families erau skeptical și reluctant să leave comfort ale propriilor case pentru a se shelter în castelul de fân al lui Ion. Major Petrescu initially attempted to downplay severity al approaching storm. Avem heating în casele noastre și sufficient food, declared el. Nu see any reason pentru panic sau pentru extreme measures ca moving către shelters improvised. Dar pe măsură ce day progressed și weather forecast becoming more alarming, Major began să reconsider position sa. European Weather Services warning că storm system era unprecedented in modern history și că could cause catastrophic damage la infrastructure și threaten lives in isolated areas. By noon, pe 12 februarie, first bands de cloud cover begun să arrive, iar wind speeds started to increasing rapidly. Temperature dropped cu over 1900 manning in 3 hours, iar barometric pressure indică că aiul stormului was approaching cu alarming speed. Pe la amiază am realized că this wasn't going to be ordinary storm, recounts Ana Popescu, neighbor lui Ion. Windul beginning to howl in ways că never heard before și avea feeling că something terrible was approaching. Started to understand că maybe Ion știa something ce restul noi nu know. Primul incident serious occurred around 2 p.m. când electricity gridul pentru entire valley failed due la high winds downing power lines. Suddenly, modern heating systems in village homes stopped working. Iar residents realized că they were vulnerable in ways că hadn't anticipated. Când power went out, everything changed, observes Mayor Petrescu. Suddenly, Ion's preparations new seemed acidity extreme. Without electricity, our homes erau just as vulnerable ca any structure din past centuries. In following hours, situation deteriorated rapidly. Wind speeds reached over 122 km/h, iar snow began to falling at rate de over 5 centimeters per hour. Visibility dropped la almost zero, iar roads becoming impassable due la rapid snow accumulation și drifting. By early evening, several houses in village started to experience roof damage din wind pressure, iar one elderly couple's home lost just dintr-un roof complet. Era becoming evident că many village homes weren't designed to withstand extreme weather conditions pe această scale. Around 6 p.m. and begun to realize că my house might not survive night, admits Maria Ionescu, resident in Lower Partale village. Roof was making terrible noises. Wind era getting through cracks of walls, și inside temperature was dropping chiar cu all firewood burning in stove. Ion, meanwhile, was making final preparations la structure sa și repeatedly attempting to contact villagers care weren't yet convinced to seek shelter. His improvised communication system worked perfectly, iar structurals remained completely stable despite extreme winds outside. Interior ale structure era ca sanctuary, describes Ion. Outside era pure chaos, dar inside era warm, quiet și secure. All systems erau functioning perfectly, iar people care came early were beginning to realize that this wasn't joke, so unnecessary precaution. Crisis point arrived around 9 p.m., când wind speeds peaked, și several more houses suffered serious structural damage. Road către neighboring villages era complet blocked by snowdrifts preco 3 metri high, iar village era effectively isolated din outside world. La această point, Mayor Petrescu made decision să declare local emergency și să officially recommend că all residents seek shelter la Ion's structure. Swallowed my pride, she admitted că Ion havia fost right all along, he later admitted. Când Mayor officially endorsed moving către shelter, most remaining residents finally understood severity of situation, notes Ion. Was no longer about my crazy ideas, era about survival and faced a natural disaster pe care nimeni nu experienced before. Mass migration către Ion structure begun around 10 p.m. pe February 12th. In blinding snow și dangerous winds, families loaded essential supplies și made difficult journey către hilltop location and a structure was located. Ion și his family helped guide people through storm. She ensured că everyone arrived safely. Journey către shelter era terrifying, recalls Elena Dumitru, care traveled cu 3 young children. Couldn't see more than few meters ahead. Wind era so strong că could knock down adults. Iar snow era so deep că children needed to be carried most the way, but knew că reaching Ion structure era our only option pentru survival. By midnight, over 80 people din village erau sheltered in structure, cu more arriving throughout night, when they realized că their homes couldn't protect them din storm. Space care many had mocked și ridiculous excess era, now providing life-saving protection pentru majority ale community. By morning to February 13th, concludes Ion, everyone understood că fortăreața de fân care had been object de so much ridicule era difference între life și death pentru our entire community. Storm care hit us that night, era unlike anything experienced in region and living memory. Outside, storm continued să rage cu undiminished intensity, dar inside structure, community era safe, warm, și beginning să understand că sometimes cele mai neconventional ideas sunt those care save lives când conventional solutions fail complet. Paragraful 4. Viața în fortăreață pe timpul furtunii. Pentru next 5 days, din februarie 13 până la februarie 18, 2023, Ion's structure deveni home pentru over 100 villagers care se refugied din most devastating winter storm în modern Romanian history. Inside, fortăreața de fân. Community care had once mocked construction să now dependent complet pe vision și preparation să pentru survival. Organization and shelter era remarkable effective grație planning pus față Ion, made months earlier. Different areas ale structure erau designated pentru specific purposes. Families cu young children în warmest central section, elderly residents near heating system pentru easy access la warmth și medical supplies, iar younger adults in outer areas where they could help cu maintenance și security. First morning in shelter am realized cât de thoroughly Ion had planned everything, observes Maria Ionescu. Wasn't just random space cu baloți de fân, era carefully designed living environment, cu systems pentru everything că needed pentru extended survival. Daily routine in shelter was structured și efficient. Ion established schedule pentru meal preparation, cleaning duties, care pentru children și elderly, și monitoring the exterior conditions. Everyone avea responsibilities care helped maintain morale și sense de community purpose. Food management era critical cu so many people in confined space. Ion's prepositioned supplies erau sufficient pentru approximately 50 people pentru 1 week, but cu over 100 residents, rationing was necessary. Community pooled resources că had brought, iar Ion coordinated distribution să ensure că everyone received adequate nutrition. Ration system era fair și well organized, notes Ana Popescu. Ion made sure că children și elderly got priority pentru fresh food, iar adults shared equally remaining supplies. Nobody went hungry, dar everyone understood că conservation era essential pentru making supplies last. Heating system care Ion designed proved to be exceptionally effective. Temperature înăuntru structured remained comfortable chiar când outside temperatures dropped la 30 °C. Combustion chamber burning specially prepared fun in controlled manner provided even heat distribution for creating smoke problems inside enclosed space. Engineering on the heating system era genius, observes Vasile Georgescu, retired engineer care initially criticized projectul. Never would have believed că burning fun inside structure făcută din fun could be safe și effective, but Ion's design made it work perfectly. Sanitation și hygiene erau managed through improvised but effective systems. Ion had prepared multiple areas with privacy screens pentru basic needs, iar waste management system using natural decomposition in specially prepared pits maintained healthy environment throughout shelter period. Water supply came din pre-stored containers și din snow melted in controlled manner pe heating system. Ion's calculations proved accurate. Water reserve erau suficient pentru drinking, basic cooking și minimal cleaning pentru entire duration Ales storm. Water management system showed Ion's attention la detail, recalls Elena Dumitru. Even had filtration system using sand și cloth pentru ensuring că melted snow water era clean și safe pentru drinking. Nothing was left la chance in his planning. Entertainment și moral maintenance erau important pentru preventing cabin fever și conflict in cramped living conditions. Community organized storytelling sessions, group singing, card games și educational activities pentru children. Ion's preparation included books, games și art supplies care helped keep everyone occupied. Children adapted remarkably well la shelter living. Pentru ei era almost ca extended camping trip cu all their friends și neighbors. Adults maintained positive attitude pentru children's sake. Our community spirit grew stronger as people supported each other through difficult conditions. Children handling stress better than adults in many cases, observes Maria Dumitrescu, local teacher. They were excited by adventure aspect, she weren't fully aware the danger we faced. Their resilience helped adults maintain optimism during most challenging moments. Communication to outside world was limited but occasionally possible. Ion's battery-powered radio provided weather updates and emergency information. News confirmed the storm was historic in nature și că many areas throughout Romania erau experiencing similar conditions cu widespread power outages și isolation. Medical care and shelter was handled by collective knowledge al community. While no professional medical staff erau present, several residents had basic first aid training, iar Ion's medical supplies erau adequate pentru treating minor injuries și illnesses that occurred. Health issues and shelter erau minor considering circumstances, notes Ana Popescu. Few people had cold sau minor injuries, dar nothing serious. Being warm și well-fed helped everyone maintain good health durant a crisis. Outside conditions remained dangerous throughout entire shelter period. Ion ventured outside daily pentru monitoring structural integrity și pentru checking road conditions, but movement outside shelter era nearly impossible due to continuing snowfall și extreme cold. Reports din outside indicated the storm had caused massive damage throughout region. Power lines erau down over wide area, many buildings suffered structural damage, și transportation was complete shut down. Villages care didn't have alternative shelter arrangements suffered significant casualties. Everyday news despre storm damage in other areas made Neu realize how fortunate eram to have Ion's shelter, reflects Mayor Petrescu. Without this refuge, our village would have suffered deaths and serious injuries to many other communities in region. Team maintenance pentru structure itself required daily attention. Ion și volunteers checked structural integrity, cleared snow din ventilation systems, și monitored heating operations. Structure performed flawlessly throughout storm, proving că design și construction erau solid și reliable. By day 4 in shelter, community dynamics had evolved in positive direction. People care had barely spoken to each other in normal village life, erau now close companions, sharing stories, meals, și mutual support. Crisis had brought together community in unprecedented way. Shelter experience created bonds inter people that lasted long after storm ended, observes Ion. People discovered things about their neighbors that they never knew before, și relationships formed during those days remained strong years later. Looking back, concludes Mayor Petrescu, those days in Ion's shelter erau among most important in our community's history. Not only did structure save lives, but experience brought us together as a community in a way that wouldn't have happened otherwise. Ion's vision proved to be blessing in multiple ways that we never anticipated. Paragraful 5. Sfârșitul furtunii și conștientizarea. Pe dimineața zilei de 19 februarie 2023, după 7 zile de furtună neîntreruptă, vântul a început să se liniștească și ninsoarea s-a redus la fulgi sporadici. Ion, care monitorizase obsesiv weather conditions pe durata întregii crize, a ieșit primul din structură pentru a evalua damage exterior și condițiile pentru safe departure. Când am deschis entry-ul către structure și am stepped outside, am rămas fără cuvinte, descrie Ion. Landscape era complet transformed. Snow era la level de over 2 meters in most areas, iar în drifts era aproape de 4 meters. Village-ul era buried sub ocean de zăpadă albă. Pe măsură ce other villagers ventured outside pentru prima oară în week, scale ale devastation became evident. Many houses erau visible doar prin rufurile lor, iar some buildings erau complet buried under snowdrifts. Roads erau indistinguishable din surrounding terrain, iar normal landmarks erau complet obscured. Was like stepping into different world, recalls Ana Popescu. Village care known all our lives era gone, replaced by uniform white landscape. Without Ion's structure a reference point, would have been completely disoriented. Assessment of damage throughout village revealed extent la care Ion's shelter salvés lives. 3 houses suffered roof collapses din weight ale snow, Your 2 elderly residents care refused to leave their homes or were found suffering din hypothermia când rescue teams finally reached them. Multiple other buildings showed signs de structural stress, sau partial damage. Ion's insistence că everyone come la shelter literally saved lives, admits Mayor Petrescu. People care stayed in their homes experienced dangerous situations, yet some would not have survived another night without rescue. His persistence in warning people proved to be a crucial factor in preventing casualties. The regional authorities began to arrive in area by February 20th. Using heavy equipment to clear access roads, she assessed damage throughout valley. Emergency teams were amazed to find că satul Corbi de Argeș had suffered no casualties, și minimal serious injuries despite being in path of unprecedented storm. When emergency coordinators learned că entire village had sheltered an improvised structure făcută din baloți de fân, initial reaction era disbelief, notes Captain Radu Moldovan, care-coordinated regional emergency response. Never had seen such innovative emergency solution, saw such effective community cooperation during natural disaster. Media attention followed emergency teams către village, iar Ion structure quickly became subject to national interest. Romanian television stations, newspapers, și online media began covering story ale Fortress de Fân, care saved entire community during historic storm. Media coverage era overwhelming at first, admits Ion. Never expected to become public figure, sau to have reporters asking despre engineering details all my structure. All wanted era to protect my community, not to become famous. Scientific community also showed interest in Ion's construction methods, she design principles. Engineers she disaster preparedness experts visited village to study structure. She saw document techniques care made it so effective during extreme weather conditions. Professor Dr. Mircea Popescu din Technical University of Cluj analyzed structural aspects. She declared, Mr. Dumitrescu's construction represents innovative application of traditional materials in modern engineering context. His used the compressed hay bales spent through load-bearing construction, she thermal insulation, offers lessons spent through disaster preparedness, she sustainable building practices. Recognition pentru Ion's achievement come din multiple sources. Romanian Ministry de Emergency Situations awarded him national recognition pentru outstanding contribution la community safety, iar European Union Disaster Preparedness Agencies requested documentation de his methods pentru inclusion in emergency planning guidelines. Recognition era gratifying, but most important result era că community understood the importance de preparedness și innovation in facing natural disasters, observes Ion. Award și publicity erau nice, but real achievement era că no one in our village was seriously hurt during worst storm in memory. Economic impact the Ion's foresight was also significant. While neighboring villages suffered thousands delay and property damage, she required extensive government assistance pentru recovery. Satul Corbi de Argeș avoided most economic losses prin timely sheltering și protective measures. Insurance assessors noted că property damage in village era minimal compared la other areas affected by storm. Houses care were temporarily abandoned pentru shelter, erau protected in serious damage by early evacuation, iar community infrastructure remained largely intact. Economic benefits to Ion's approach erau substantial, notes local development coordinator Elena Văduva. Village avoided costly reconstruction, she extended recovery period, că other communities experienced. Prevention through proper preparation proved to be much more effective than attempting to repair damage după catastrophe. Community attitude toward Ion changed completely după storm experience. People care had previously mocked his paranoid preparations, now recognized vision și courage că had saved their lives. Respect și admiration replaced earlier skepticism și ridicule. Complete transformation in how community viewed Ion era remarkable, observes Maria Ionescu. From being seen as an eccentric dreamer cu unrealistic fears, he became respected leader și innovation whose judgment people trusted complete. The village council officially recognized Ion's contribution prin naming hilltop location und structure was built Dealul Salvării, Salvation Hill, iar established permanent memorial commemorating community's survival during 2023 winter storm. Public speaking invitations began to come in throughout Romania și other European countries, where Ion was invited to share his experience și methods cu disaster preparedness officials, agricultural engineers, și community leaders interested in innovative emergency solutions. Ion's story became symbol pentru importance de individual innovation și community cooperation in facing natural disasters, notes Dr. Alexandra Georgescu, specialist in disaster management la University din București. His example shows that sometimes unconventional solutions sunt those care prove most effective when conventional approaches fail. Looking back, concludes Ion, storm era, terrible experience, but also vindication pentru years de preparation și criticism că endured. Most important lesson era că communities trebuie să be ready pentru unprecedented challenges, iar sometimes being ridiculed pentru unusual ideas este price pentru being prepared when crisis comes. Paragraful 6. Transformarea comunității și noua perspectivă. În săptămânile care au urmat furtunii, viața din satul Corbii de Argeș s-a schimbat fundamental. Ion Dumitrescu nu mai era privit ca un excentric cu idei bizare, ci ca un vizionar ale cărui ideas neconvenționale salvase întreaga comunitate. Această schimbare de perspectivă a avut repercusiuni profunde asupra relationship-urilor sociale și asupra planningului de future development în village. După ce am trăit together în shelter pentru o săptămână, relationships dintre neighbors schimbăran complet, observe Sana Popescu. People care barely talked la each other înainte de veniseră close friends. Crisis created bonds care durează până today și care made community much stronger și mai united. Village Council organized series de meetings pentru a discuss lessons learned din storm experience și pentru a develop new policies pentru emergency preparedness. Ion foi invitat să serve ca permanent advisor pentru disaster planning, iar his recommendations deveniran official village policy pentru future emergency situations. Ion's expertise in emergency preparedness era acum recognized ca valuable community resource, notes Mayor Petrescu. Instead de dismissing his ideas, Council began to actively seek inputul său pentru improving village infrastructure și preparing pentru future challenges. One immediate change era establishment the Community Emergency Fund, financed through voluntary contributions și special assessments, dedicated to maintaining și improving emergency preparedness infrastructure. Ion's structure era designated ca official village emergency shelter cu regular maintenance și improvements funded din aceste resources. Educational programs erau also established to teach preparedness skills la village residents. Ion organized monthly workshops where taught basic survival techniques, emergency planning methods, și sustainable construction practices using local materials. Workshops attracted participants in neighboring villages as well. Ion's teaching sessions erau extremely popular și practical, recalls Elena Dumitru. Learned skills that could apply in our daily lives, pentru making homes more resilient și pentru being better prepared, pentru smaller emergencies that occur regularly. Agricultural practices in village began to reflect lessons learned despre sustainability și preparedness. Ion's methods pentru compacting și preserving hay erau adopted by other farmers, care recognized that these techniques could serve dual purposes pentru normal agricultural needs și pentru emergency construction materials. Children in village eram particularly influenced by experience. School curriculum was modified to include units on emergency preparedness, sustainable living și community cooperation based pe real-life example ale survival in Ion's shelter. Children learned that innovation și thinking outside conventional approaches could solve problems that seemed insurmountable. Children care experience shelter life became advocates pentru preparedness și community cooperation, observes Maria Dumitrescu, local teacher. They understood viscerally that unusual solutions sometimes work better than conventional approaches și că community support era essential pentru overcoming serious challenges. Regional attention attracted development opportunities către village. Government agencies interested in disaster preparedness began să study Ion's methods și să consider replicating his approach in other vulnerable communities throughout Romania. National Institute pentru Emergency Situations included Ion's construction techniques and official guidelines pentru rural emergency shelters. His innovations erau studied și adapted pentru use in other geographic și climatic conditions throughout country. Ion's methods represented breakthrough in disaster preparedness thinking, explains Dr. Radu Florescu din Emergency Management Institute. His combination de traditional materials cu modern engineering principles offered sustainable, cost-effective solution care could be implemented in any rural community cu basic resources. International attention followed domestic recognition. European Union disaster preparedness agencies sent teams to study structure și să interview Ion about his methods. Several other European countries, cu similar rural mountain communities, requested technical documentation pentru potential replication projects. Tourism also developed around Ion's achievement. Structure era preserved ca historical monument și educational facility, attracting visitors interested in sustainable construction, disaster preparedness și innovative problem solving in rural communities. Educational tourism brought new income la village. She helped share Ion's story to broader audience, notes local development coordinator Elena Vodova. Visitors came to learn about construction techniques, but also about community cooperation și resilience că story represented. Ion's family circumstances also improved significantly following recognition de his achievement. Speaking engagements, consulting opportunities, și book contracts provided financial stability that allowed him to continue innovation și să help other communities develop similar preparedness programs. Media coverage continued și expanded Ion's influence beyond the immediate region. Documentary films, magazine articles și academic papers spread knowledge de his methods și story throughout Europe și beyond. Ion became recognized expert in rural disaster preparedness și sustainable construction. Ion's expertise era now sought după din throughout Europe și even other continents, observes Mayor Petrescu. Villages in similar mountainous regions din other countries requested consultations pentru developing their own emergency preparedness programs. Village infrastructure development accelerated following storm experience. Community recognized necessity pentru improved communication systems, redundant power sources și better transportation access pentru emergency situations. Ion's advice guided these improvements către maximize effectiveness in crisis scenarios. Long-term planning pentru village development now included preparedness considerations, ca primary factors. New construction projects erau evaluated pentru their emergency utility as well as normal functions, iar community planning emphasized resilience și self-sufficiency in addition la economic development. În la storm experience taught us că preparedness trebuie să be integrated in all aspects de community development, concludes Mayor Petrescu. Can't separate normal development din emergency planning. They must work together to create community care can thrive in good times și survive in crisis periods. Most importantly, community's new appreciation pentru Ion's vision encouraged other residents to propose și pursue innovative ideas care might have been dismissed in past. Atmosphere de innovation și openness to new approaches became defining characteristic al village culture. Ion's vindication encouraged others to think creatively despre solving problems, observes Ana Popescu. People realized că unconventional ideas sometimes hold best solutions, iar ridicule era not appropriate response la innovation și forward thinking. Greatest success wasn't just surviving storm, concludes Ion. Era transformation într-un community care values preparedness, innovation și mutual support. That legacy will serve village well in whatever challenges future may bring. Paragraful 7. Impactul național și schimbarea politicilor. După ce povestea fortăreței de fân a devenit cunoscută la nivel național, autoritățile românești au început să reconsidere fundamental approachul lor către emergency preparedness în rural communities. Ministry de Emergency Situations, până atunci concentrat pe Urban Disaster Response și Conventional Emergency Facilities, realized că rural areas needed innovative solutions care să be sustainable și practical pentru remote locations cu limited resources. ION's achievement demonstrated serious gaps in our emergency preparedness policies pentru rural mountain communities, admitted Deputy Minister după ce povestea fortăreței de fân a devenit cunoscută la nivel național. Autoritățile românești au început să reconsidere fundamental approachul lor către emergency preparedness în rural communities. Ministry de Emergency Situations, până atunci concentrat pe Urban Disaster Response și Conventional Emergency Facilities, realized că rural areas needed innovative solutions care să fie sustainable și practical pentru remote locations cu limited resources. ION's achievement demonstrated serious gaps in our emergency preparedness policies pentru rural mountain communities, admitted Deputy Minister Alexandru Petrescu. Am relied pe conventional approaches care new functional in isolated areas where traditional emergency infrastructure era inadequate or non-existent. In March 2023, Ministry established special task force pentru studying ION's methods și pentru developing national guidelines pentru rural emergency preparedness based pe lessons learned din Corbii de Argeș experience. Task force included emergency management experts, rural development specialists, agricultural engineers și representatives din rural communities throughout Romania. Dr. Elena Georgescu, appointed to coordinate task force activities, visited ION's village pentru extensive documentation de construction methods și community organization strategies. ION's approach represented paradigm shift in emergency thinking, EA observed. Instead de relying pe external assistance, emphasized self-sufficiency și community resources pentru survival până external help could arrive. National Agricultural Institute became interested in ION's hay compacting techniques pentru their potential applications in sustainable construction și rural development. Research programs erau initiated to study durability, insulation properties și construction methods folosind pressed hay bales ca primary building material. ION's innovations showed că agricultural waste products could be transformed in valuable construction materials cu superior insulation properties și lower environmental impact than conventional building materials, explains Professor Dr. Mircea Popescu din Agricultural Engineering Department. This opened new possibilities pentru sustainable rural construction și waste utilization. Government Emergency Preparedness Budget Allocations erau revised to include funding pentru innovative rural solutions rather than exclusively conventional emergency facilities. New budget category era created pentru community-based emergency innovation programs, inspired by ION's success. Rural Development Agency launched pilot program in 5 mountain villages to replicate ION's approach cu local adaptations. Each village would identify community members cu innovative thinking și provide support pentru developing customized emergency preparedness solutions using local resources și traditional knowledge. ION's example proved că some dintre best emergency solutions come din local innovation rather than top-down mandates, notes Dr. Radu Florescu din Rural Development Ministry. Our role should be to support și amplify local innovations rather than to impose standardized solutions care may not fit specific community needs. National Civil Defense Curriculum era updated to include case study de ION's achievement și să emphasize importance de individual initiative și community cooperation in disaster situations. Training programs pentru emergency response personnel now included sessions on recognizing și supporting innovative local solutions. European Union took notice de Romanian rural emergency innovations și invited Romania să participate în EU-wide study de sustainable emergency preparedness in mountain regions. ION's methods erau evaluated pentru potential replication in Carpathian regions de other EU member countries. Romanian mountain emergency preparedness innovations attracted significant EU interest, reports Dr. Alexandra Georgescu din EU Regional Development Office. ION's success demonstrated that innovative local solutions could be more effective than expensive technological approaches in certain environments. National television produced documentary series about rural innovation and emergency preparedness, featuring ION's story as primary example, the effective community-based disaster management. Program was broadcast nationally. She resulted in hundreds of inquiries in other rural communities interested in similar preparedness programs. University programs in emergency management și rural development begun să include ION's case ca required study material. Students in these programs visited Corbii de Argeș ca part de fieldwork requirements să observe și analyze ION's methods in real-world context. ION's achievement became standard teaching case pentru demonstrating că innovation can come din any source și că academic credentials aren't required pentru developing effective solutions la complex problems. Observes Professor Dr. Maria Ionescu din Emergency Management Studies program. National emergency preparedness exercises begun to incorporate scenarios testing community-based innovative solutions rather than only conventional emergency responses. Military și civilian emergency teams practice supporting local innovations instead of replacing them with standard procedures. Government established annual award pentru Rural Emergency Preparedness Innovation, cu inaugural award going la ION pentru his achievement in developing effective community-based disaster shelter. Award includes funding pentru developing preparedness programs in other communities, based by recipients' innovations. Rural medical services are also influenced by ION's example. Health Ministry studied how basic medical care was provided in ION's shelter. She developed guidelines pentru maintaining health in emergency community settings using limited resources și non-professional medical personnel. ION's shelter experience demonstrated that proper sanitation, nutrition, și community organization could maintain community health pentru extended periods chiar fără professional medical staff, notes Dr. Călin Popescu din Rural Health Services. This knowledge was invaluable pentru improving emergency health preparedness in remote areas. Agricultural policy was influenced by recognition that farming techniques could serve dual purposes pentru normal production și emergency preparedness. Subsidies are now made available pentru farmers who adopted multi-purpose agricultural practices care enhanced community emergency resilience. Regional cooperation programs erau established to share innovative emergency preparedness techniques among Balkan countries facing similar rural emergency challenges. ION's methods erau presented la regional conferences și adapted pentru use in other mountainous rural areas. ION's success became symbol pentru Romanian rural innovation și resourcefulness, notes Foreign Ministry Cultural Affairs Director Elena Dumitru. His story helped change international perceptions de rural Romanian communities, din stereotypes de backwardness către recognition de practical wisdom și adaptive capability. National building codes erau reviewed to accommodate innovative construction methods like ION's compressed hay technique pentru emergency și sustainable construction applications. Regulatory barriers that had prevented such innovations erau modified to permit experimentation cu approved oversight. Long-term climate adaptation strategies now include emphasis on community-based resilient solutions rather than only infrastructure-heavy approaches. ION's example showed that adaptive communities could be more resilient than communities dependent on external infrastructure in extreme weather situations. ION's achievement fundamentally changed Romanian approach la disaster preparedness from reactive response towards proactive community resilience, concludes Dr. Radu Florescu. His innovation proved that sometimes best solutions come in understanding local conditions și applying creative thinking către traditional materials și methods. NICO government established Permanent Advisory Committee on Rural Emergency Innovation, Ion serving ca founding member și his methods serving ca baseline pentru evaluating other innovative approaches la community preparedness throughout Romanian rural areas. Paragraful 8. Replicarea succesului în alte comunități. În toamna lui 2023, entuziasmul generat de succesul lui Ion Dumitrescu a inspirat mai multe comunități rurale din România să develop propriile lor inovative solutions pentru emergency preparedness. Government Pilot Program a selectat 5 villages din different mountain regions să experiment cu community-based disaster preparedness approaches, folosind Ion's example ca model, dar adapting methods la local conditions și resources. Village Rucăr din County Argeș a fost primul să implement modified version de Ion's approach. Local farmer Petru Mănescu, inspired de Ion's success, organized community efforts to build emergency shelter folosind compressed straw bales din wheat production waste, combinat cu local stone pentru additional structural strength. Am studied Ion's methods thoroughly și am realized că in our area, wheat straw era more abundant than hay, iar local quarry provided excellent stone materials pentru reinforcement, explains Petru. Am adapted his basic principles la our specific resources și geographic conditions. Rucăr project involved entire community din planning phase, cu different families taking responsibility pentru specific aspects de construction. Local carpenter, mason și farmers contributed specialized knowledge pentru ensuring că structure era both practical și durable. Community involvement din beginning era crucial pentru success, observes Major Vasile Georgescu din Rucăr. Everyone understood purpose și contributed according to their abilities. Era truly collaborative effort care strengthened community bonds chiar before emergency situations could test effectiveness. In Maramureș region, Village EU developed innovative variation folosind compressed wooden materials din local forestry waste combined cu traditional construction techniques folosit pentru local wooden churches. Solution era adapted pentru mountainous terrain cu steep slopes și heavy snow loads. Our approach folosea traditional Maramureș woodworking knowledge combined cu Ion's innovation and compression și community organization, explains craftsman Nicolae Pop din IED. Result era structure care reflected local cultural heritage while providing modern emergency protection capabilities. Village Roșia Montana din Alba County addressed unique challenges the former mining area prin developing underground emergency facility, folosind abandoned mining tunnels, reinforced Q agricultural materials. Solution utilized existing underground infrastructure while ensuring safe și comfortable emergency accommodation. Dr. Elena Georgescu din Emergency Management Task Force visited each pilot community to monitor progress și to document innovations. Each community developed solutions care fitted perfectly cu local conditions while maintaining basic principles that made Ion's approach successful. EA reported. Fascinating aspect era că no two communities developed identical solutions, dar all were effective in their specific contexts. Innovation occurred prin understanding local resources și conditions rather than copying exact details din Ion's original design. Moldovan village Vaslui developed approach optimal pentru flatland conditions where wind era primary emergency threat rather than snow accumulation. Community built low-profile reinforced structure Q excellent wind resistance, folosind compressed hay, reinforced Q flexible wooden framework. Our emergency challenge era different din mountain communities, dar Ion's basic principles de community organization și innovative use de agricultural materials translated perfectly lay our flat terrain și wind exposure problems, notes local coordinator Maria Popescu. Training programs Iriu established to share techniques among participating communities. Ion himself visited each pilot village to provide consultation și to learn din local adaptations to his methods. These exchanges enhanced both original techniques și new variations. Visiting different communities și seeing how they adapted basic ideas way valuable learning experience pentru mine as well, observes Ion. Each community taught me something new about applying innovation principles in different contexts. Results din pilot communities erau documented și evaluated prin systematic monitoring de construction quality, community participation levels și preliminary testing on the available. All 5 communities successfully completed emergency preparedness projects within allocated timeframes și budgets. Government evaluation concluded că community-based approach era significantly more cost-effective than conventional emergency facility construction. Total cost pentru all 5 pilot projects era less than cost pentru single conventional emergency facility serving equivalent population. Economic efficiency the community-based approach era remarkable. Notes Dr. Radu Florescu din Rural Development Ministry. Communities achieved better emergency preparedness capability pentru fraction de cost in conventional facilities, while building local expertise și community cohesion. International attention and pilot program results attracted delegations din several Balkan countries facing similar rural emergency preparedness challenges. Visitors din Bulgaria, Serbia și Slovenia studied Romanian innovations pentru potential implementation in their own countries. European Union Regional Development Fund approved funding pentru expansion de program la additional Romanian communities și pentru sharing techniques cu partner countries. Romania became recognized leader in innovative rural emergency preparedness within EU framework. Romanian rural innovation and emergency preparedness gained international recognition ca model pentru sustainable, community-based disaster resilience. Reports EU Regional Development Coordinator Dr. Alexandra Georgescu. Success to pilot communities inspired spontaneous adoption in other villages throughout Romania. Over 20 additional communities undertaken similar projects without government support, using knowledge shared through media coverage and word-of-mouth communication among rural residents. Organic expansion to movement showed Ion's innovation addressed real need that widespread throughout Romanian rural areas, observes Dr. Elena Georgescu. Communities recognize value she took initiatives to develop their own adaptations. Documentation the pilot community successes resulted in publication the comprehensive guide pentru community-based emergency preparedness using local agricultural materials. Guide era distributed nationally și internationally ca practical resource pentru rural communities. University programs began to incorporate pilot community examples in coursework, sending students to study different approaches și să assist cu ongoing projects. Students provided additional workforce while gaining practical experience in community development și innovation implementation. Academic involvement brought fresh perspectives și additional resources către communities, while providing students cu valuable real-world experience in applied innovation și community development. Notes Professor Dr. Maria Ionescu. Rural development conferences began to feature presentations despre Romanian community-based emergency preparedness successes. Ion și coordinators din pilot communities became regular speakers la national și international rural development events. Long-term monitoring the pilot communities continued to document effectiveness și sustainability the different approaches. First winter following construction tested several communities' emergency capabilities, all achieving successful protection pentru residents. First operational tests proved that community-based innovations could perform as effectively CA original ION's structure in protecting communities during emergency situations. Concludes evaluation report. Network de cooperating communities era established to share ongoing experiences și to support new communities interested in developing similar programs. Network facilitated communication și mutual assistance among communities throughout Romania și internationally. Movement that started cu ION's individual innovation grew in nationwide community-based emergency preparedness network care strengthened rural resilience throughout Romania, observes Dr. Radu Florescu. Innovation multiplied și adapted să serve diverse communities facing variety de emergency challenges. Paragraful 9. Recunoașterea internațională și moștenirea. pe data de 15 octombrie 2024, aproape 2 ani după furtuna care făcuse cunoscut numele lui Ion Dumitrescu în întreaga lume. Acesta a primit una dintre cele mai înalte distincții internaționale în domeniul Emergency Preparedness și Community Resilience. United Nations Office pentru Disaster Risk Reduction l-a onorat cu premiul Innovation in Community-Based Disaster Resilience, recunoscându-i contribuția unică la dezvoltarea Sustainable Emergency Preparedness Solutions. Mr. Dumitrescu's achievement represents paradigm shift in understanding disaster preparedness, declared Dr. Mami Mizutori, UN Special Representative pentru Disaster Risk Reduction, la ceremony din Geneva. His innovation demonstrates că effective disaster resilience can be achieved prin community initiative, local resources și innovative thinking, rather than exclusively prin expensive technological solutions. Premiul venea după o evaluation thorough a impactului international al methodologiei lui Ion. Un assessment team documented că over 200 communities in 15 countries had implemented variations ale approach-ului său, resulting in improved emergency preparedness pentru approximately 50,000 rural residents worldwide. Expansion to ION's methods throughout Europe and beyond showed that innovation care addresses universal needs, can transcend cultural and geographic boundaries while adapting to local conditions, noted assessment report. European Parliament invited ION to address special session on rural resilience and sustainable development, unde a prezentat comprehensive overview de community-based emergency preparedness principles developed din his original innovation. Parliament subsequently adopted resolution endorsing community-based approaches as a priority pentru EU rural development funding. Ion's presentation către Parliament was pivotal in shifting EU policy emphasis din technology-heavy solutions către community empowerment approaches, observes Dr. Alexandra Georgescu, din EU Regional Development Office. His practical demonstration the effectiveness influenced policy pentru hundreds de rural communities throughout Europe. Academic recognition followed practical and political acknowledgement. 3 major European universities awarded ION honorary doctorates in community development, sustainable engineering, and disaster management. Recognizing that his innovations represented significant contributions to multiple academic disciplines, Technical University din Cluj-Napoca established Ion Dumitrescu Center pentru Community-Based Innovation, dedicated la studying and promoting locally developed solutions la community challenges. Center offers annual fellowships pentru researchers studying adaptive community technologies throughout Europe. ION's approach represented new model pentru understanding relationship between traditional knowledge and modern emergency challenges, explains Professor Dr. Mircea Popescu, director of the newly established center. His success showed that innovation can emerge in practical wisdom rather than only formal education. Documentary film about ION's achievement was produced prin EU cultural program. She distributed internationally prin educational networks. Film was translated in 12 languages. She used in universities worldwide ca teaching material pentru courses in community development, emergency management și sustainable innovation. International agricultural organizations recognized that ION's pressed hay construction techniques offered sustainable alternative la conventional building materials cu significant environmental benefits. Food și Agriculture Organization de UN included ION's methods in their guidelines pentru sustainable rural construction using agricultural waste products. ION's construction techniques demonstrated that agricultural waste could be valuable resource rather than disposal problem, notes Dr. Maria Cristea din FAO Sustainable Agriculture Program. His innovations contributed la broader understanding the circular economy principles in rural development. Publishing companies approached ION pentru writing comprehensive guide about community-based emergency preparedness. His book, Building Community Resilience, Innovation, Preparation, and Survival, became bestseller in rural development literature She was translated in 8 languages. Writing book allowed me to share detailed knowledge so other communities could benefit in lessons learned in our village, explains Ion. Goal was to enable others to develop their own innovations rather than simply copying what worked pentru us. Regional development banks began to incorporate community-based preparedness projects in their rural lending criteria, offering favorable financing pentru communities developing innovative emergency preparedness solutions based on Ion's principles. World Bank Rural Development Division featured Ion's achievements in their annual report, P Sustainable Rural Development, citing his work key example, the bottom-up innovation care achieved significant development impact, cu minimal external investment. Technology companies interested in disaster preparedness began to study Ion's low-technology approach pentru insights in developing resilient systems care could function independently to complex infrastructure. Several companies hired Ion as a consultant pentru developing products adapted pentru rural emergency applications. Ion's emphasis pe simplicity și local resources provided valuable guidance pentru designing technology care could serve communities worldwide, regardless of their infrastructure development level, observes Dr. Radu Florescu. International development organizations invited Ion to participate in field assessment missions in rural areas affected by natural disasters. His expertise in rapid assessment and community-based solutions proved valuable in post-disaster recovery planning in several countries. Relief organizations adapted Ion's rapid shelter construction techniques pentru refugee camps and temporary settlements, where traditional emergency shelters erau inadequate pentru extended occupation. Modified versions al pressed material construction offered improved comfort and sustainability pentru displaced populations. Ion's innovations found applications in humanitarian contexts that we never anticipated, notes Dr. Elena Georgescu. Principles că worked pentru permanent community preparedness also provided solutions pentru temporary emergency housing in disaster response situations. Educational institutions worldwide begun to include Ion's story in curricula pentru courses in innovation, community development, și emergency management. His achievement became standard case study pentru demonstrating că breakthrough solutions can emerge din any source with proper motivation și perseverance. Media coverage continued to expand Ion's influence as journalists and documentary producers tracked long-term impact to his innovations in different communities. Follow-up stories documented sustained success and continuing adaptation to his methods in various cultural and geographic contexts. Romanian government designated October 15th a National Community Preparedness Day in honor of Ion's achievement and to promote ongoing emergency preparedness awareness in rural communities. Day features events throughout country highlighting local innovation and community resilience initiatives. Ion's legacy extended far beyond original emergency shelter, observes Mayor Petrescu din Corbii de Argeș. His example inspired nationwide cultural shift towards valuing local innovation and community-based solutions pentru addressing complex challenges. Most significant long-term impact was establishment of the international network pentru community-based innovation in rural areas, cu Ion serving ca founding advisor. Network facilitates communication among innovators worldwide. She provides support pentru developing locally adapted solutions la community challenges. Network că grew din Ion's achievement now serves thousands de communities worldwide, concludes Dr. Alexandra Georgescu. His individual innovation became foundation pentru global movement către community empowerment și locally developed resilience solutions. International recognition confirmed că innovation care begins din individual vision și community need can achieve global impact when principles are universal și methods are adaptable la diverse conditions și cultures. Paragraful 10. Impactul pe termen lung și lecțiile pentru viitor. La 3 ani după furtuna care a făcut celebră fortăreața de fân, satul Corbii de Argeș devenise un destination internațional pentru studenții, specialiștii și communities interesate să învețe despre community-based resilience și sustainable innovation. Ion Dumitrescu, odată considerat excentric de către vecinii săi, era acum recognized ca lider global în dezvoltarea community preparedness solutions care could be replicated worldwide. Transformarea din our village in past 3 years era extraordinary, reflects Major Petrescu. Din isolated mountain community care struggle cu basic infrastructure challenges, am devenit international example de community resilience și innovation. Change brought benefits care extend far beyond emergency preparedness. Economic impact asupra village era substanțial și sustainable. Educational tourism generated significant income pentru local families care offered accommodation și services la visitors. Local craftsmen begun să produce și să vândă compressed hay construction materials și traditional building products la communities implementing similar projects. Economic development care resulted din ION's innovation era based pe local knowledge și resources rather than external dependence, observes Local Development Coordinator Elena Văduva. This created sustainable foundation pentru long-term community prosperity. Village infrastructure improved dramatically, cu increased attention și funding availability. Communication systems erau upgraded, road access was enhanced, și renewable energy systems erau installed, să reduce dependence pe external utilities. Improvements erau designed să enhance both normal living conditions și emergency preparedness capabilities. Educational programs established in village attracted students din universities throughout Europe și beyond. Summer programs in sustainable innovation, community development, și emergency preparedness provided revenue while spreading knowledge de ION's methods și principles la new generations de leaders. International educational programs brought diverse perspectives către our community while sharing our innovations cu global audience, notes local teacher Maria Dumitrescu. Exchange era mutually beneficial. She helped continue evolution to our approaches. Research conducted in village contributed to a broader understanding de community resilience, sustainable construction, și social innovation. Academic publications based pe Corbii de Argeș experience influence policy și practice in multiple countries și international development organizations. Professional development opportunities pentru village residents expanded significantly. Ion și other community members became sought-after consultants și speakers, traveling internationally to share their expertise cu other communities și organizations. Knowledge și experience gained in original emergency situation became foundation pentru ongoing contributions la global development. ION's example showed că expertise can develop in practical experience și community engagement rather than only formal education, observes Professor Dr. Maria Ionescu din Emergency Management Studies program. His success inspired broader recognition the value in experiential knowledge și community wisdom. Technology transferred in village innovations continued to evolve și să improving. Second-generation emergency facilities built in other communities incorporated lessons learned din original structure și operational experience. Innovations erau refined through practical application și feedback din multiple community contexts. Community social structure strengthened significantly through shared experiences și collective achievement. Relationships forged during emergency shelter experience deepened over time. Creating social cohesion care supported ongoing community development initiatives și collective decision-making processes. Social capital developed during emergency experience became foundation pentru all subsequent community achievements, observes Dr. Elena Georgescu. Trust și cooperation grew in crisis situation enabled community to tackle increasingly ambitious development projects. Environmental sustainability consciousness increased throughout village, residents recognized connections between resource management, community preparedness, și long-term environmental health. Agricultural practices evolved to emphasize both productivity și sustainability, serving normal economic needs while maintaining resources pentru emergency applications. Climate change adaptation became ongoing focus pentru village development planning. Ion's innovations proved that communities could develop resilience to unexpected weather challenges while maintaining normal economic și social activities. Approach served ca model pentru other communities facing similar climate uncertainties. Ion's methods demonstrated that climate adaptation could be achieved through local innovation rather than expensive infrastructure projects. Notes Dr. Radu Florescu din Rural Development Ministry. Community-based approach offered more flexible și sustainable response la changing environmental conditions. Next generation din village grew up cu deep understanding de innovation importance, community cooperation și preparedness thinking. Young people educated in this environment became leaders in their own communities și professions, spreading principles learned in Corbi de Argeș throughout their networks și careers. Children care experienced shelter life became particularly effective advocates pentru community preparedness și social cooperation. Their direct experience cu effective community action shaped perspectives și values care influenced their approach la problem solving in diverse life situations. Young people in our community developed unique combination de practical skills, social awareness și innovation thinking that serves them well in any environment, observes local teacher Maria Dumitrescu. International collaboration continued to expand as village became part of the global network, the innovative communities sharing knowledge și supporting each other's development initiatives. Regular communication și exchange visits strengthened connections to communities worldwide implementing similar approaches. Policy influenced the ION's achievement extended la national v international levels, where community-based approaches became recognized, CA viable alternatives la technology-heavy emergency preparedness strategies. Funding priorities și development guidelines increasingly emphasized community empowerment și local innovation capacity. ION's success influenced development policy către recognize că sustainable solutions often emerged in communities themselves rather than being imposed din external sources, observes Dr. Alexandra Georgescu, din EU Regional Development Office. Long-term monitoring the communities implementing ION's methods throughout Europe și beyond continued to document sustained effectiveness și adaptation the original innovations. Success rate era remarkably high, cu most communities achieving improved preparedness și enhanced social cohesion through participation in construction va operational phases. Legacy planning pentru preserving și sharing knowledge gained din ION's innovation became priority pentru village și supporting organizations. Documentation, training programs și educational materials erau developed to ensure că lessons learned would remain available pentru future generations și communities. Most important legacy nu era specific construction techniques, but understanding that innovation can emerge in any community când residents are motivated to address local challenges cu creativity și cooperation, concludes ION. Real lesson in our experience era că individuals cu vision și persistence can achieve remarkable changes in their communities și beyond. Innovation requires courage to pursue unconventional ideas and determination to persist despite criticism from people care nu understand potential. In final reflection upon his achievement și its global impact, ION emphasized that success depended on community support și individual initiative working together. Nicio innovation poate succeed in isolation. Individual ideas must connect cu community needs și collective action pentru achieving real impact, care, lasting și beneficial. History din Corbi de Argeș demonstrated that transformative innovation can emerge din any source when conditions are right pentru creative thinking, community cooperation, și persistence in pursuing solutions la real challenges facing people in their daily lives.